What was unique about our reforms and our crisis was that it was not unidimensional. In other places in Asia, they just experienced a financial crisis that became an economic crisis, period. It didn't become a political crisis, it didn't become a social crisis, and so on. In Indonesia, it became all of that: financial, economic, social, and political crisis. So for us, it was a major transformation opportunity. And this is what happened. And when we define reform, it's not just reform of the banking sector. It's not just reform of the economic sector, but comprehensive reforms: military reforms, judicial, electoral reforms, intelligence reform.
All of the people who were most expert about Indonesian politics, and I was the ambassador when these transitions occurred, didn't believe you could have the type of democratic transition that occurred. It was really a remarkable process. When you had raised before the idea of changing the Constitution to provide for these things, people were afraid of touching the Constitution for fear that efforts would be made to turn it into an Islamic constitution. But in fact, the Indonesians were able to change the Constitution so that you now have direct elections. Previously, the president was elected by an indirect process. Now you have direct elections of the president. And it's, frankly, the most vibrant democracy in Southeast Asia.
We're the third largest democracy in the world now, and we're the largest democracy in Southeast Asia, with the largest middle class and with great political stability. It's a multi-ethnic country to begin with. You know, we had something like 270 ethnic groups. We may be the largest country with the largest Muslim population, but about half of the area, in terms of area, of the eastern part of Indonesia are Christians. So if we don't have a system whereby all the religions feel at home, that feel Indonesians, the country is going to break apart. And the consequence, not just for Indonesia, but for the region and the world, will be very damaging. So for us, it's a life and death situation, a make or break situation for us to keep this multiculturalism and religious freedom as a national ethos. And we should always defend it, because without that, we cease to be Indonesians. Just like without that, you cease to be Americans.